Hello everybody and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael and today we are looking at a park called Woodland Park and it's created by Molo 04, which I hope I pronounced that right. And this creator also recently just started a YouTube channel under the same name. So the link to that is in the description below, as well as the link to download this park on the workshop. But the description says, "Welcome to Woodland Park. The park originally opened in the 80s, but come and explore it in the modern day. There are still 3 opening day attractions still open to this day, and that is a ride called Roller Coaster, the Carousel, and Charoplane. Have a race in the forest and get a spook in the Woodland Manor. The park's newest adventure area was opened in 2019. The slides for the park are from Jan BK1608 and have been edited." Wow, that sounds really weird saying edited. "With the park storage and newly opened farm on the outside as well. This park is based on a northern English countryside." So let's go ahead and get started with the tour. So here we are at the guest entrance to Woodland Park. And as I said in the description, this is created by Molo 04, I believe. And we are going to take a look around the edge of the park after we look inside the park. But you've got this little entryway. Maybe the only thing I'd say is adding like a screen or something. I know the guests would walk through it, but also hides kind of this area, you know. Just a thought or an opinion. Now we head this way, so this would be where the guest would park. And then you've also got a little bit of a maintenance area back here. And oh, looks like we have an entryway for where workers would sit at. Or is this like security or something? So that's pretty cool, pretty well done. Only thing is, anybody who's entering the park can see into there. But really cool, and I do like how you've used... Wait, did you... Hold on, I gotta check and see on this real quick. Okay, no, I was gonna see, did you use the whole thing as path? But nope, you didn't. So, it looks good, and I love these lights. I mean, that's really well done because, like, usually at theme parks you see those really tall lights, and those have a lot of coverage. I'm gonna use those in my park next time. It's just a circle piece. Is that it? Let me see. Yeah, I mean that's really, really, really good. So I really like that. Let's get this back to daytime, and we'll look around at night at the end. And I love these. Oh gosh, what are they called? I can't remember. I think it starts with a B, but I can't remember. So we got a little coffee spot in here. And you got a nice little seating area with the TV. So grab a cup of coffee, cup of joe in the morning. Oh, and you got a little coffee maker. So I like that. So like this is used for the cups. And then you're using the Roman candles to look like a coffee dispenser. So I like that. I wonder in the UK... do you use the nickname a cup of joe sometimes to mean a cup of coffee? I wonder. So Woodland Park. So nice entrance. Now maybe the only thing I'd say is you did a good job of it up here of adding a border around, continuing that border this way. And I know the reason why you didn't continue that piece is because of it not being able to fit, especially on the corners. But you could have just done like a wood piece or something, just to kind of separate the two different building pieces. But I do love the different styles. So here we got tickets. So you've actually done a lot of interior building here. So this is nice. So you got a little check. Looks good. So right when you come into the park, it is very, very open, which is nice. And you got the carousel right there. So that looks good. Me personally, I think a charo swing would have been perfect right in that entry spot, as you get that swinging look to it. And now, as we go through this, there are going to be a couple things that I suggest here and there, just in terms of on the detailing side of things. But I think this is, I mean, as you'll see, this park's really, really well done, especially the exterior component of it as well. And so here, we have storage and what could potentially be like holiday storage or just extra, so you can see extra lights. Miscellaneous storage, nothing to do with coasters or anything like that. Speakers, that's what I got to put speakers around my park. And we got little queue covering storage. Looks good. So we got the Insanity. All right, so one thing I would suggest is just placing borders around here. And so let me just show you real quick what I mean. It's pretty straightforward. So, I mean, you've done it right there, and you still got enough space. So if you go to the one I like using the most, I know Nerd Chacho talks about this, it's the Spook Central windowsill. That's the small one. Yeah. So I think because you can color a different color, you can keep it this color, and it's not as thick as the thick wooden beam. So you can kind of have it up a little bit if you want to, or you can kind of have it a little bit lower. And you just, you know, copy it over here. You know, just continue it along the edge of the path. And it just adds a little bit to it, so something like this. And let's do this part real quick. So I didn't quite get that on the cube, but it's all good for the sake of time. So that's one thing for me is I like custom fencing almost everything. And so just adding that, I mean, it adds a little bit more to it, right? Like now you know this is, you can tell now this isn't quite level, or maybe it's just that. Is that piece slanted? Or is it the ground's not level? I don't know. Either way, it's not quite, but yeah. You know, just adding something like that just adds a little bit of detail to it. Instead of having just because there is no 3D texture like in Planet Zoo, right? Like you can't see the individual grass blades. So to me, it always looks a little bit weird when you've got something like this. It looks like we got a little gate here potentially for staff. And I like seeing this kind of, it's just the light turned around. So it looks almost like a warning sign. So that is really, really clever. I know on the park that I did, depending on when this comes out, a few weeks back, Vasquez Fields, I saw that for the first time. And so here's another example where I would do those windowsill, because you put that there, and then you can just create yourself a flower bed. Whether you want to use the actual flower bed pieces, or another piece that you can use, which I know Fancy Coaster Cow, I believe this is what he said he does. If you go here and go to foods, I think it's the coconut, right? So the coconut, you got two options, which the texture sometimes can be bad. So you can just go brown, then make it a dark brown. So you can do something like that. And that looks kind of like it's almost mulch, or you could even flip it around. And that looks better, doesn't it? So that almost looks like it could be mulch or dirt. And now the issue with this sometimes is when you get on the higher percentage, the textures don't show up as well. And so like I did this at the park I'm currently working on, and it's like it doesn't look as good as this does in terms of looking like it could be some kind of mulch or something. Now, obviously, that doesn't look perfect, but then when you place flowers and bushes and stuff over it, I think it covers it up where it makes it believable that it could be a flower bed. Now, enough of me talking about that. I love the topiary bushes around this. I think that's really good. And then using, it's a nice job with the bathrooms there. You got a little quick service, and I love these. Looking like you would just like pull them down at night, cover it up. You've also got a little door. So we got a little, oh, never mind. I was gonna say a little backstage there. But I guess that's just for workers. There's a little storage space. So now we got forest races. I do not believe this was one of the originals in the park, but it looks like we got where you can purchase your on-ride photos. I like seeing this when you have the stalls kind of underneath the place. I think that looks good. I mean, even though it's really not much, just the thing of putting the wheel up there I think is kind of cool. And could have used some covering here, those coverings that you have back over there. But no, this is good. I like it. I mean, you can tell where the fencing kind of stops with how these benches are set up. Or not the fencing, the pathing. Oh, I like this for a bend. I haven't really seen those fencing pieces used too much for, but I think that looks really good. So this is a motorbike coaster called Forest Race, and it's the Interceptor. Let me go ahead and pause that. And you know what? We're not riding front bumper on this thing. We're going to ride seat view, and I will talk to you after the coaster. That was Forest Race, and I thought it was a good ride. I think for it being called Forest, maybe adding some more trees to kind of on this part right here, but I also think you wanted the custom supports to be shown. So I think that's a pretty cool job custom supporting that, even though I think, yeah, that's the only one I think that's custom supported, but I still think that's a really, really well done. Looks realistic. Looks like that's not a word. Looks like that could have been what the manufacturers were wanting to do with that. And we got a little flat ride here, which we'll get to in a second. But one thing I do want to mention is, love the transfer track here. Now, the one thing I'll say is, as you play the game more, and next time you try something, you're going to want to kind of do something different than you've done before, right? So you want to make sure with the transfer track, you're going to have a way for the employees to access the ride and a door in and out for them. Also, like, ideally, there should be some way for some access road or something for the employees to get back there. Now, here's one thing I would do whenever you're separating the paths like this, is you can see the areas where, like if I were to take the terrain, and this is not trying to, you can see where it's not actually concrete, which that does a really good job of masking the, well, hold on, this is the wrong camera, sorry. Really good job of masking the fact that making it look like it's all path when it's not. The only thing I would say is, if we take, for sake of time, is I don't want to have to type in windowsill again. Let's just go ahead and do this. Color it kind of a gray. So one thing I like to do anytime I'm kind of, whether it's going to a different area or have path changes like this, using a border. And now what it also does is it covers up those areas that kind of bleed over into the other area. And so you can kind of see the difference that makes in that sense. So that's one thing, one of the few things I said I wanted to mention. It's just with the detailing aspect of things. But I really enjoyed that coaster. And then I like how you've got a lot of family-oriented or style parts to this park, because it was an 80s park to begin with. Smaller style coasters, nothing too crazy. So you got a lot of these kind of individual seating areas, and then we got a hook-a-duck game. And so I wonder if, because I know some of these are on the workshop, did you get this one off the workshop or did you make this one? But either way, I think that's a good job, and I like where it's located, because you see that kind of in the middle of paths and stuff a lot. So we'll head back here, and then we'll reverse around. Oh, there's the Chero swing. And the scissor, I think, is what that was called. Okay, so you did add... Okay, no, that's actually part of the path. Never mind. I was about to say you did add a border. So now it looks like we're heading into a very different style. So definitely themed over here. And you got the nice music playing. That's a really cool look of it going up the lift. Oh, here's the actual entrance. Okay. I just kind of came over here to look, not actually realizing the entrance would be over here. Ooh, we got a Cobra there. Really, really cool. And good interaction, too. Like, as you're waiting in line, I mean, you're just seeing the whole layout of the coaster and seeing the coaster go. And so that's a really good. Love the operator's booth. So as we look at these stats, vertical G-forces, lateral G-forces, everything looks good. So we'll take a ride on the coaster. All right, so first of all, I love the layout. I think it's a really smooth coaster. I think one thing I would change is I would turn up the friction because I think it's going way too fast for the layout. And so it definitely kind of books it around here, and then especially on the next kind of hill and turn. So I think that part goes a little too fast. But as I said, love the interaction here. You got a little transfer track, which is nice. And I love this seating area. I mean, seeing it kind of comes to a really quick stop right there. So I love that seating area. And you got a little food spot here, which is nice. Now we got the playground, which he said was by Jan BK. But he adjusted it a little bit, I believe. So good job crediting Jan with that. And then we got the other kids right here, the little flyers, whatever they're called. Soaring Eagles, I think. But he called it Temple Flight. So that's a really good job. So yeah, if we take an overview look of this area, really wide paths, which I think is realistic. I would say maybe though, with it being a smaller park, you could get away with smaller paths because you're going to have less crowds. If this is like a Hershey Park, Cedar Point style, like you're going to have wide paths because you're going to have a lot of guests walk in. But if it's a smaller owned park, you're not necessarily going to have as many people at the park to where the park's just super packed. But let's see, what is this in here? Is this oh, we got a dark ride. I was not expecting this. All right. So it's called Woodland Manor. I guess that should make sense for it. Oh, let's see. Let's get on the correct train. There we go. So we are going to sit in the middle seat, and I will talk to you after this dark ride. So that was the spooky Woodland Manor, and that was really well done. I think either now I'm trying to remember if he said there's a dark ride in the description of his park. Um, Now I feel really bad if he did, but I was not expecting that or had forgotten about that. And it is getting fairly late over here, so it's one of those when I film spotlights late at night, I'm like, oh, I'm good, I'm feeling great, and then all of a sudden I start filming and I all of a sudden get tired. I'm like, I was not tired 2 seconds ago. But yeah, nice gift shop. And one thing too is I think you've done a pretty good job of keeping the same building style throughout the park, but yet making it look different enough, if that makes sense. Oh, I like this, out of order. I like that. I think that's a really, really cool touch. So we got another quick service. Got the Charoplane, which is the most beautiful ride in the game. If you disagree, you're wrong. So that is, I mean, it just gives the most beautiful views, especially when you're in flip cam mode. And then it looks like we're going to have the final coaster of the park right here, which is a small wooden coaster, which I believe was probably one of the original rides of the park. We got another family sitting area here, which is nice. Love to see that. That is an intense ride for this kind of family park. Because if you think about it, there really haven't been, I mean, that spinning coaster was really only intense because of the speed that it was using. But there really haven't been that many intense rides here. And so quick service is definitely a very family-friendly, family-style park. So you got some more photos. There we go. You know, and sometimes just adding, like you can add trees going up this without actually it having to be on grass like you've done right here. Because if you have the, I'm trying to remember exactly where they're at. Under planters, maybe? Yeah, so you have these pieces. Oh, golly, what's... The camera's just acting all sorts of crazy. So you could do a piece like that, and then you take a tree, and like you're not going to use an oak tree for this, or even that tree, right? Because that's too large. But what you can do is you can use... I mean, sometimes these trees can work, but with the setting you're in, that wouldn't work as much. So you could do, you know, those trees are interesting, but those are more for off, not necessarily being on the path. But you can do the birch trees, you know, it just kind of adds something different. You could do the ash trees, stuff like that. So you're able to, you can put stuff on the path, especially when you've got these really wide paths and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, I really do like the layout. I think you've done a great job with it, and you kind of created a main midway going up, which is nice. And you kept the style the same throughout, which is really, really nice to see. And so, yeah, this one is just called Roller Coaster. Love it. I mean, straight to the point. It's what it is, right? Love the transfer track on this one. This one's really good. You got the little door here as well. And you've got the door for the employee back here. The garage door even, which is even better, which is nice. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. So average speed or max speed 40 miles per hour, biggest drop 50 feet. Let's go ahead and take a ride, and I will talk to you afterwards. So that was definitely my favorite ride of the park. And I think you've done a good job with all the coasters. I just think it's a classic wooden coaster. It's not going to be overly rough because it doesn't have a crazy layout. and it's just enough height for this, and it looks like there is, I don't know what that's supposed to be right there. Just something different. Oh, you know what? We need to look at this park at night. So that coaster's definitely lit up, and you've got your lights here, which is nice. Yeah, so I mean everything's lit up enough. You know, nothing's too crazy. Nothing's lit up to a point where it was intended to be looked at night, but it's lit up to a point that is realistic for a theme park, which is, you know, the route I go for, what I like to see. Maybe this is a little bit too much, a little too oversaturated, maybe. Um, but overall looks good. So now let's look at around the park because to me, like, I think this is where the park really excels as well. Is it's got all this extra stuff. So we saw this before. That's kind of the something for employees. Then we've got another employee access over here, and we have what would be the Woodland headquarters, so the offices, which is a really nice touch. You know, maybe the only thing I'd say is maybe they'd have their special entrance this way, because I know as an employee that would be annoying if you had to wait in the traffic to get into the park every day. But granted, I've never worked at a theme park, so I don't know how that does work. But yeah, that's really well done, and even the headquarters buildings has the same kind of building style. So I think you've done just a great job with that. And I'm just checking on this because I'm just wondering how this would look. Let's see. Let's get off of this mode. Yeah. Ooh, I like how you put the lights right there too, because those little. Oh, that's the wooden post. Never mind. So I can't turn that sideways. Never mind. I was gonna see how it'd look, kind of trying to separate the two building styles, but that one can only go vertical. But let's see, how does this look with those lights right here? Yeah, I mean, it gives off enough light. See, that looks really good. You've got the pipes for the air vents on the top, the rooftop, which is nice. So going for that realism in that sense. Was there anything? Okay. And then now we come around this way, and so this is supposed to be like a European countryside park, and so you've got your major maintenance areas this way, where they're keeping, just keeping anything that needs to be kept there. You know, you could have maybe put some coaster parts in here, so we got some lockers. Oh, were there lockers in the park? Now that I think about it, I'm like, I didn't see lockers. So we got a little snake piece here that's broken. That's a cool touch. I like that. Really cool. Oh, we got some custom supports and that's cool how you did that. That must have taken a little bit to kind of get that perfect. So it looks like custom supports for some kind of new coaster that would be built. So what? And it's steel. So is it a modern style coaster? And it looks like we've got movable sheds, maybe? I don't know, but either way, this looks cool. You got all these lights. So we've got this countryside road now, or I guess it's still Staff Road. So this is the Bunker Barlow Farm. Really nice. So there's their warehouses, and so is this like their house, or because that's a pretty unique style house. Oh yeah, it looks like it'd be a house. You got back porch, you got a little seating area here. I mean, it's perfect with just one bench because that's all you need, right, for your family. So really cool. And they've got their hay bales over here. Oh, that's cool. Driving that old style truck. And then we have another staff parking spot. And so this is where the staff CP, staff, what could CP mean? I don't know. I don't know what CP would mean. And then over here we got this gate to another warehouse. So it's really cool you got all these. Like I said, though, one thing you could do to add even more realism is adding like extra coaster track pieces or something like that. And then this goes over this way. And I like the uniqueness of all your backstage stuff because it's not all the exact same. You got this little water filtration system. So there we are. I think it's fantastic. There's definitely some things I point out here and there, but I think your style, you definitely did a really good job. And as I said, just everything is surrounding the park really just adds to it. And really, really enjoyed looking at this. So make sure to also make sure to go check out this creator's YouTube channel, as the link is in the description below. And I know I said that in the beginning of the video as well, as the channel's recently been started, really since he got done with this park. And as I said, just really, really good job. Love it. Also, the link to download on the workshop is below as well. So make sure to let us know your thoughts and what you think about the park, and especially the stuff surrounding the park. And make sure to hit that like button, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Talk to y'all later.